This is the Rising Star Podcast from Race22.com with host Langley Austin, bringing you down-home grassroots short track racers sharing their journey on what it takes to rise above the rest.
All right, we're back for another episode of the Rising Star Podcast. We got an interesting guest today. One of the nicest people I've personally ever met in my life. He sells souvenirs at Wake County Speedway and Southern National Motorsports Park. Of course, most of you know Mike Ray if you've been there. Mike, welcome to the Rising Star Podcast, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me on this evening, Langley.
Oh, man, the honor, I'm going to tell you, is all mine. I tell people all the time that, you're one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. And I told me and Kimberly, my wife, and Jaden, my nephew, when we're traveling around to the races, we talk about it all the time, that if everybody in racing was like you and a couple of other guys that's really good for racing, that our sport would be so much more better off.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Langley. It's always great to see you and your family at the racetrack. And, Race 22 has brought so much to the short track community. I want to thank you for being out there at the races, all your Race22.com staff. Follow them, folks, on Race 22 online. So, love having you at the track, and thank you for everything you do for the sport, Langley.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. What I called you about, of course, you're going to go racing for the first time in 20 years ago. I guess you bought a car, and you're going to go racing for the first time. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to do this weekend.
Well, Langley, it's something I've been wanting to do and waiting to do for the past 20 years. I'll be running this Friday night at Wake County Speedway with the Southern Ground Pounders Touring Series. These are a great group of guys out of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, all the tri-state area, and we run the cars that you used to see back in the day, modifieds and sportsmen. It's two different classes, and we run for trophies and show the fans what it used to look like back in the day at your local speedways.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the car itself that you'll be driving, what kind of car it is and all that.
Oh, well, the car itself, Langley, a friend of mine that some listeners might know, Bruce Martin from down in Jacksonville, North Carolina. It was his old late model Sportsman from back in the day, and he had talked to me about how it could be a Southern Ground Pounder, and I'd always had my eye on it, so I bought it, I guess, about 17, 18 years ago, and whatever I made at the souvenir stand, I would send him whatever I made that evening, and after it was down in Jacksonville for about 12 years or so, I had it on layaway that long, and we brought it up here to Raleigh, and then it's little Robert Jeffries and his sons Kevin Jeffries, Joseph Jeffries, and their cousin John Jeffries have been helping with it on it the last couple of years. So we got serious about it, and I was going to run it last year with the Cars Tour when they were at Wake, and things just got so busy that night that I'm going to run it this Friday night, and it will be the first time in about 22 years since I've run, but looking forward to it. It feels really, really good. It's got an old Trans Am back in the day body on it, kind of like Knight Rider, kind of that body style, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. I mean, sounds like a really cool car, and definitely the Southern Ground Pounders, one of my favorite classes to see at a racetrack. Those old cars, and a lot of the older drivers that don't race late models or mini stocks or anything like that anymore. They get in those cars, and they put on a heck of a show. I seen them last year at a couple different racetracks, Carteret being one of them. They put on a spectacular show, and I'm sure sure you're gonna be right there in the thick of things this weekend.
It's going to be fun, Langley. I'm gonna do my best and try to stay out of everybody's way and have a great time at the racetrack. Mac Tatum, that club that he's the president of it. He's got a beautiful Nova that he runs, and there's a Sam Ord lookalike that he just got this week that I saw today on Facebook. And that'll be good. Cowboy Dwight Sauls, he always runs good. He's got a beautiful coach that he runs. It'll just be a lot of fun for the fans, the drivers, and then one of my mentors is James Turner, and I don't want to get his age wrong, but I believe the man is 74 years young. So James will be out there running, and we have a great time. Be a 25-lap feature Friday night at Wake County Speedway, Simpkins Road in Raleigh, North Carolina. So come on out if you're in the area, and love to see you, and it's just going to be a fun evening.
No doubt about it. James Turner, too. That guy, he is a character for sure, ain't he?
He is. He's a good old guy. Always got a grin on his face, always upbeat. The whole club helps each other out. Whatever that you might have to do, that the Hobbs family, the Hobbs Racing family, they've got a beautiful 66 or 67 Ford Galaxy. So a lot of different makes and models, coupes, coaches, you name it, Chevelles. There's just a ton of cars out there. It'll be a great time for all.
Absolutely, for sure. And I'm gonna go back to something you said earlier. You said you had this car on layaway for 10 or 12 years.
I did. That was the only way I could get it. Ben Kennedy, he's one of my Twitter friends, and he laughed at me. I told him that I was gonna pay for it out of souvenir money. So it took me a long time to do it, but Bruce Morton was really great working with me. And I know that I sent him money for 10 or 12 years on it, and it was another. It's probably I've had it up here in Raleigh for about the past 5 years. So it's I've had the car for a long time. I've driven it once. I practiced about a month ago with it, and it felt really good on a speedway. Wake County Speedway, quarter-mile bull ring. The action's up close and right in your face. So. We're going to have a great time Friday night with it.
There's definitely no better racetrack in the region to go out and race on than Wake County. Such a cool quaint little place. Its location right there in Raleigh there. Just an awesome place to go to. Little racetrack, action is all over the place, and I'm sure for you getting out there, it had to be a lot of fun to get back out there.
Oh, it will be a lot of fun. I wanted to get my first race car before I turned 40, and I was able to do that. And then I wanted this car to run with the Southern Ground Pounders before I turned 60, but that didn't work out. But we'll get it done before I turn 63. So it's all good.
What did you race before, Mike?
Langley, I drove out at Wake County Speedway in the four-cylinder division. You know how the divisions, you put more and more money into it, more and more money, and they're always growing and expanding. And Glenn came out with a four-cylinder division about 20 years ago out at the Speedway, and you could get into it just for the cost, probably like a bomber division now, or an IndyCar division.
Right.
And I think the first night I ran out at Wake County Speedway, I had all of about $350 in my car then. So things change and classes change, but it's always a good fun time at the racetrack when you're out with your racing family.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. It's amazing, that you were able to go, to think back, and I remember from when I was younger, going to racetracks and growing up at Franklin County Speedway. We had the IndyCar division there, and being able to go racing as cheap as, $350 or $400 or $500, whatever the number is. It's just so cool that people, could do that before. I know it's a little bit more expensive today. Everything's a lot more expensive today, but it's so cool that, that there's classes like that at a racetrack for a guy like you, to get started in racing.
Oh, it is. It's great that they have these all of these divisions that you can get into the sport for a relatively low cost still. Your IndyCar, your Bombers, and the fans love them, and the drivers love them. We had a great show just a couple of weeks ago at Wake County Speedway and knocked down the pit wall. A Bomber knocked down the pit wall on the last lap of the feature event that night. So we've gotten that all poured and set back up. So we're ready to go this Friday night at Wake County Speedway.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I seen the pictures of the wall knocked down and saw them where they've been working there. That's it takes a lot of force to knock a wall down as thick as that one was.
It does. That wall had been up for years and years and years. I can't say enough about the Simpkins, the vision that they've always had since the early to mid '60s, and how far that little track has come over the years. It's just a great little track, Langley, and just want to invite you and everybody to come on down. And man, I can't wait till Friday night. I'm so excited about running this Southern Ground Pounder feature Friday night at Wake.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. You said you were 62 years old. It's awesome for for a guy a little bit older, get out there and go racing, and hopefully somebody from Race 22, whether it's me or Andy Markey or somebody else, makes it out to cover the race this weekend, because we know it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we definitely want to see you out on the track.
Oh yeah, we're going to have a great time, and I'll send you the results like I do every Sunday, Langley, because I'm racing, I'm a race, and then I'm going to finish up and go back up and sell in the Suvi stand, and then I'll be writing a story Sunday and sending it to you like I always do, man. So, it'll just be a fun little break, something that I haven't done in a while, and been wanting to do, so I've been planning it for a long, long time, and just very excited about it happening, and can't wait to get out there and send it. Have fun.
Absolutely, man. No doubt about it. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here on the Rising Star podcast. And the name, the Rising Star, a lot of people are like, well, they're just going to talk to a bunch of young kids that are coming up through the racing world. But that's not the case. I mean, here we are, 62-year-old Mike Ray, awesome individual. Got him here on the show just to talk about going racing for the first time in 22 years, which is awesome, man. We're excited.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to be on the Rising Star podcast, Langley. And just want to invite everybody to come on out Friday night or wherever your local speedway is. Take a kid racing, and let's go have some fun this weekend.
Absolutely, no doubt. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Mike Ray, super guy, one of my favorite people in racing. I say it all the time, and I think I said it at the beginning of this podcast. If we had more people like Mike Ray, man, what a great sport we would have. We wouldn't have any track bashing. We wouldn't have any keyboard warriors. We wouldn't have any problems. He's such a great guy and so good for the sport. And he also has a podcast of his own called Talkin' Racing with Mike Ray. Be sure to find that and listen to it every week. He does a great job on there, and just a one-of-a-kind guy. Hopefully you can, if you're in the area or close by and want to see a good race, those Southern Ground Pounders put on a good show at Wake County Speedway, or really everywhere that they go. But him being in the race this weekend makes it worth the trip no matter what. I think I'm going to try and make about a 3-hour trip down there this weekend just to see my buddy Mike Ray. Hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll have another Rising Star next week.